I was just out in the backyard, and behind my shed I found this piece of dry wood. Well, it feels dry, but on the inside it's got to be wet because it was just out in the open. And it's just a piece of junky wood that normally you just throw out. But let's say it was something meaningful and you wanted to use it to make a pen blank. You know, let's pretend it was a piece of Noah's Ark or something like that. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and square this thing up somehow so that I'm going to end up with a piece of wood about 5-6 inches long and 3/4 of an inch square. It might end up being a little less, but that's okay. So we'll see what I can do. It's very badly cracked, so I've got to be careful it doesn't go flying apart and hitting me. I think I'll wear face protection for this one. Well, as you can see, it's kind of an awkward little piece to try and put through the blade this way. So I'm going to flatten one side with a sander, probably this side here. And then it'll be a little easier to slide along the table saw. See what happens. You know, I use my table saw so much that I forget I've got this good bandsaw. Well, as I mentioned earlier, what I want to do is I want to be able to immerse this little piece of wood into the Envirotex after all of the air has been drawn out of it and after the Envirotex has stopped bubbling. In other words, degassed, I guess. So I made this little tank here, and this is just a Glad sandwich bag to act as a liner so that the Envirotex isn't going to leak out. And what I would do is I'd put this on here, like so. And this piece of window screen here, it's plastic. It would act as sort of like a sieve so that the Envirotex could ooze up around the sides, and the plastic wouldn't come up tight against the side of the little block of wood here and seal it off so that the Envirotex can't seep in. I know it's not making a whole lot of sense here, but the idea would be then that after, I'm guessing about an hour, it should have all degassed and everything, I would push this down. Okay? And the Envirotex would ooze up around the sides, completely cover the piece of wood. Then I'd release the vacuum. The atmospheric pressure should force the Envirotex into the piece of wood. And that is, hopefully, if the Envirotex hasn't set itself up in an hour. Usually it's still pretty liquidy after an hour. And so you're probably wondering, well, how are you going to do that from inside the tank? Well, what I did was I drilled a hole in one side of the tank and then another out the other. And the hole, by the way, is slightly smaller than this rubber tube. And now what I can do is I can raise and lower whatever it is I want to raise and lower. Well, it's under vacuum. And surprisingly, this works. And I haven't even put any flexible silicone sealant around the outside yet. And it's not leaking even without that. So give this a try, see if it works. Well, let's do a dry run here. Okay, I take and I pour the Envirotex into my little makeshift tank here. Okay, that should only take about a minute. Then I carefully set my little block of wood on the very top. Okay, like so. And make sure that everything is centered. So, okay, let's assume now that a length of time has passed and the Envirotex has stopped bubbling. Now let's see if we can lower the little block of wood into the Envirotex. Okay. Now I should be able to release the vacuum. And the Envirotex should be oozing its way into all the pores. Now if I had a pressure pot, I would take it out of this vacuum chamber, put it in the pressure pot, and do the reverse process. Got to see if I can get a pressure pot. I have a pressure cooker. That'd give me 15 pounds. I have 2 pressure cookers. This is my small one. I hardly ever use it anymore. So I took out the safety valve, and as it turns out, the valve stem for a rim off a car, it just happens to perfectly fit into that hole. And so that's what we got. And I just happen to have one, as a matter of fact. So let's continue the dry run. Okay, I'm going to very carefully take this out so as not to spill it. I'm just pretending, of course. I will put it in here. Now this, if it's working properly, should give me about 15 pounds pressure. And there it goes. And it's about 15 pounds pressure. You know, I think this is going to work.